Before you throw away a fishing rod with a cracked carbon blank, watch this first. A crack in the carbon layer may look like a serious problem, and sometimes it is, but in many cases, the rod is not completely finished. If the blank is not crushed, folded, or broken in half, you may be able to repair the damaged section with careful cleaning, proper support, strong epoxy, and a clean reinforcement wrap. A carbon fishing rod blank can crack for many reasons. The rod may be dropped, stepped on, hit against a hard object, closed in a car door, or stored under heavy gear. It can also crack while fishing if too much pressure is placed on one small section. This often happens when the angler lifts the rod too high while fighting a fish. Sometimes the fishing line wraps around the tip, the rod bends in the wrong place, and the carbon layer starts to split under pressure. Do not keep fishing with a cracked carbon blank before checking it. A small crack can spread very quickly when the rod bends. Water can enter the damaged area. Loose carbon fibers can open up. The rod may feel normal during a light test, but when a strong fish pulls, the cracked section can fail suddenly. A damaged blank can also create sharp edges that may cut your hand or damage your fishing line. The first step is careful inspection. Look at the crack under good light. Check if the damage is only on the outer carbon layer or if the blank feels soft, crushed, or deeply split. Gently bend the rod by hand, but do not overload it. If the rod folds at the cracked area, makes a cracking sound, or feels weak, the damage may be too serious for a simple surface repair. But if the blank is still firm and the crack is limited to one area, reinforcement may help. For this repair, prepare fine sandpaper, a clean cloth, rubbing alcohol if available, 2-part epoxy, strong wrapping thread or carbon fiber strip, masking tape, and a small brush or stick for applying epoxy. If the crack is deep and the blank is hollow in that area, you may also need a thin carbon or fiberglass insert to support the inside. The insert should fit smoothly. It should not be too tight because forcing it into the blank can make the crack worse. Start by cleaning the cracked section. Remove dirt, dust, loose carbon fibers, old finish, and any weak material around the damaged area. Lightly sand the surface so the epoxy can bond better. Do not sand too deep. This is very important. You only want to prepare the surface, not make the carbon wall thinner. After sanding, wipe the area clean and let it dry completely. If you are using an inner insert, test the fit before adding glue. Slide the insert into the blank carefully. It should pass through the cracked section and support both sides of the damage. If it feels too tight, do not force it. If it is too loose, it will not support the repair well. Once the fit is correct, apply a thin layer of epoxy to the insert and slide it into place. Check that the rod stays straight before the epoxy begins to set. Now apply a thin layer of epoxy over the cracked area. Let the glue enter the small gaps in the carbon layer. Use only enough epoxy to wet the surface and fill the crack. Do not cover the rod with a thick, heavy layer. Too much epoxy can make the repair messy and add unnecessary weight. Next, wrap the damaged section with strong thread or carbon fiber strip. Start a little before the crack and continue a little beyond the other end of the damage. The wrap should cover the entire weak area and spread pressure over a larger section of the blank. Keep the wrap tight, smooth, and even, but do not crush the rod. If the wrap is too loose, it will not support the crack well. If it is too tight, it may put extra pressure on the damaged carbon. After wrapping, apply another thin coat of epoxy over the outside. Let the epoxy soak into the thread or carbon strip and seal the repair. Rotate the rod slowly while spreading the epoxy so the finish stays even around the blank. If you have a rod dryer, let the rod turn slowly while it cures. If not, turn it by hand every few minutes at the beginning to prevent sagging. Now let the epoxy cure fully. Do not rush this step. Even if the surface looks dry, the inside may still be soft. Follow the curing time for your epoxy before bending or fishing with the rod. Many beginners make the mistake of testing the rod too early, and the repair becomes weak before it has a chance to fully harden. Common beginner mistakes include sanding too deeply, using too much epoxy, wrapping unevenly, forcing the inner insert, ignoring rod alignment, and fishing before the epoxy is fully cured. Work slowly, keep everything clean, and check each step before moving on. After the epoxy is cured, inspect the repair again. Gently bend the rod by hand and make sure the crack does not open. The repaired section may feel slightly stiffer than before. and that is normal. This repair may not make the rod exactly like new, but it can make the damaged area stronger, safer, and more reliable for light fishing. So before you throw away a cracked carbon fishing rod blank, try a careful repair first. With clean preparation, proper support, tight wrapping, thin epoxy coats, and enough curing time, your fishing rod can often return to a useful condition. Watch until the end, follow each step slowly, and the goal is simple. Make your rod stronger, safer, and ready for your next fishing trip again.